saying that this is essential. So the Ukrainian lines are collapsing, they're retreating, there is mass desertion. They had a manufacturing defect on 120,000 to 200,000 mortar shells and artillery shells, causing catastrophic failure of the equipment. So they lost all of their artillery support at the same time as the mass desertions. It's basically like as worst case scenarios you can get as far as modern warfare. You really can't get much worse off than that. And so I don't blame them all. So apparently Ukraine is putting out videos of them going back to babushka battalions and sending in grandmothers with AKs and shotguns who are saying that they're going to fight in place of their sons who have already deserted and left. It just seems really pointless to me. I don't understand why these grandmothers would go out and do that. I mean, they're very brave, extremely brave, but not cool. And North Korea has obviously sent troops there. Haven't seen the effectiveness of that yet, but North Korea has allegedly sent troops into Ukraine to fight for the Russians, as well as the South Korean president yesterday declared martial law in the middle of the night. And the vice president had to disagree, and they brought an emergency parliament meeting to end the martial law, and thus was the shortest martial law in world history. It was only a couple hours. So it's just all over the globe is this massive instability. We're going into a period of massive instability, social, economic, and political, and technology too. Which might be one of the good things. As far as bird flu, I talked about that a few episodes ago. Unfortunately, bird flu has not gone away. Bird flu has jumped species, just as we had hoped it would not. So it is apparently moved from cows to other mammals. It's expanding and jumping from mammal to mammal. There was a Canadian citizen who got bird flu, and they did a genetic testing on it, and they said that it is very quickly evolving to be capable of infecting humans. So hopefully that will remain under control, or that we will somehow have a miracle and not have a global pandemic. But again, going back to the Trump administration coming up, him putting all of these anti-science, vaccine type people in charge. And I understand the people that want to say that we shouldn't make a vaccine for everything and incentivize vaccines as far as profitability. That's just kind of a topic or discussion on capitalism or profitability or greed. It's not really about vaccines, right? Vaccines can be good or bad without them being profitable, right? Like eliminating measles or smallpox or whatever, even though it was profitable, it saved us an insane amount of money and lives. Most vaccines are profitable in that regard. It doesn't necessarily mean that like vaccines and profitability have to be intrinsic with one another. If we're gonna start just creating vaccines just for the market of it, then yeah, that's really bad. However, if we're talking about bird flu, a pandemic, where it's like extremely necessary, then those are two totally different things. Of manufacturing vaccines just for profit versus life-saving emergency, extremely severe disease like that. So bird flu has killed over 300 million birds. It's in Antarctica to the North Pole. It's an endangered species. It's in cows right now. I guess I should tell you like the most common infection type for humans right now, just to make you not as worried. Most people that get bird flu right now are getting it from cows. And how are they doing that? The cows get the bird flu and then they drink raw milk, which isn't even legal in all states. In fact, I think some people may be breaking the law when they do it, which is why they don't want to tell the FDA, yeah, I was breaking the law drinking raw milk, and that's how I got this disease. So not everybody's being honest with how they're contracting the illness. However, every time a human gets that disease, it mutates or has the chance to mutate to get closer and closer to being more infectious to human. And God forbid somebody has a regular flu and gets bird flu at the same time and they're able to rub against each other and share genes, because that's what they're really worried about, is bird flu mixing with regular flu. So we'll keep an eye out on that. But if Trump puts RFK or somebody in charge and they ban all vaccines, because he's talked about just outright banning all vaccines, which if they do that, God help us all. Literally. And we've almost eliminated some types of cancer because of vaccines. There's several vaccines that can protect against cancer that are really important for people to get. And not just cancer, but many other diseases. So we'll move on to ocean currents and the water cycle. And I think I have a article a little bit about this of what I'm going to read. But so we've been talking about the ocean current collapse, and there's some more information about that coming out, that yes, the ocean currents are indeed collapsing, as well as the groundwater. So that's the total Earth water cycle, both ocean and land collapsing. And I think I have some articles that I'm going to read about that. So carbon sinks fail. And I had talked about in the other episodes how the ocean and the jungle and all of these different natural deposits of carbon absorb carbon from the atmosphere in the ocean, and that they have been helping us maintain equilibrium with the environment. And we've been really lucky. Well, these carbon sinks, which basically just absorb the carbon, are failing. And the ocean and the jungle are no longer absorbing carbon. So the atmospheric carbon level has apparently skyrocketed in the last couple months because our carbon sinks have turned off. We will keep monitoring that. That's pretty significant. But the Earth tilts 31.5 degrees from humans moving water in India. And that's how many people there are in India. That from them drinking water and moving around water for their daily living, it has literally changed the Earth's tilt. It's insane. So for the people that say that humans can't change anything, I would say that we are. So we'll go to something a little bit more fun on this one. I've got 2 UFO topics because we're doing the State of the Union, right? So this is pretty wild stuff, and it's developing very quickly. It's been about a week that this has been going on, but this just came out at 4:36 December 4th. FBI investigating reports of large drones flying in New Jersey, seeks public's help. Before I'll go on, say it's not just New Jersey, it's all along the East Coast and the UK, possibly China, as well as some other places. FBI is investigating reports about several mysterious nighttime drone flights that have recently occurred across central New Jersey and has asked the public for help. Witnesses have spotted a cluster of what appears to be drones, larger than those typically used by hobbyists, as well as a fixed fixed-wing aircraft flying in several areas along the Raritan River since November 18th. It's not clear why the flights happened or who was flying the devices, but federal and state officials stress there is currently no known threat to the public safety. Okay, how is there a fixed-wing aircraft? Is it not on radar? Because all flights are monitored for free publicly on flight radar data. Everybody can go and access those. Well, it might not be free. I think most of it is free, but some of it might be subscription based. But still, anybody can access it if they pay some money or if they find the free versions. So, are those planes not on radar? Do we not know who's flying the plane? Because if we don't know who's flying the plane, that's kind of a big deal. And apparently the drones, according to the FBI, are larger than those typically used by hobbyists. So massive drones. That's a different way of saying massive drones. Allegedly drones, right? Quote unquote drones. The flights have raised questions in part because they took place near the Picatinny Arsenal and a U.S. military research and manufacturing facility and over President-elect Donald Trump's golf course in Bedminster. The FBI asked the residents share any videos or photos they have made taken of the flights, along with any other relevant information. The Federal Aviation Administration imposed drone flight restriction in the area this week while authorities investigate the reports. Law enforcement officials in Morris and Somerset counties officials issued a joint statement Tuesday stating they were aware of the reports and would continue to monitor the activity. So we'll move on to Manchester Airport response to UFO sighting claims. December 4th, Manchester Airport has responded to claims going viral on social media that an alien orb was pictured on the taxiway. You can look up the pictures. They're not that great. I thought they were fake. As soon as I saw them, I was like, I don't think that that's real. I'm not really sure. I can't say one way or the other, but it's apparently been debated on X and Reddit. Pictures and video that are being shared show a spherical form purportedly snapped at the airport. The object appears stationary in the sky or hovering a short distance above the ground with a plane visible behind it. The imagery of the UFO sighting claim to be captured from the inside of the cockpit, according to the post by @TerrificStuff. The images have been making rounds on social media, and various different descriptions have been made. It was described to be hovering inches off the ground and shot straight up in the air once it approached by security. See, I saw a video of it in the air, and I saw a picture of it on the ground, and both the photo and the video look like they could be AI. I mean, I mess around on AI and make UFOs just for fun, but also to see like what are the capabilities of it? What can I make so I know what other people can make? And I can make some pretty good stuff that it could be deceiving if you wanted to do that. That's not something that I like to do at all. I mean, there'd be no point in to see. I want to see the real stuff, but I also like the art and to see stuff that, you know, in an artsy way that you might not be able to see in real life or whatever. Or just art of UFOs in general are cool, but deceiving people with art of UFOs is not cool. It is being reported that the UFO landed and took off at Manchester Airport when approached by a security vehicle. Manchester Airport strongly refutes the claims. An airport spokesperson told the Manchester Evening News that they believe the images to be fake. Although the video could show a balloon or similar, they saw nothing to prove that it's real. Users on Reddit are also debating the authenticity. One user, SciTech, has started a thread captioned photo analysis of Manchester Airport UFO concludes no manipulation of the image. They wrote, thought this was pretty interesting analysis of the image, concludes no manipulation, obviously doesn't conclude anything is real, but confirms not a simple Photoshop job. So if it wasn't Photoshop, it could have still been AI, like I said. I think the pilot/co-pilot definitely saw something strange. I don't think they would risk filming/taking photos if they didn't. And if you notice how the lines in the background go through the object, it's not a solid object. You can see separating the concrete from the grass. Another person said, best friend's dad works at airport. He reckons it's just a helium balloon and they have it all the time. I challenge this as it's floating above the ground. I can't say what it is, but allegedly the account got deleted immediately after posting it. So that's kind of suspicious too. Yeah, it could be censorship or whatever, but if somebody's going to post a fake video and make it suspicious, like, oh, they deleted it, then deleting the account immediately afterwards would be the thing to do. So, once again, kind of suspicious of it. So, I will talk about the collapse of the ocean, and then we'll go into like the new cool positive stuff, right? So I just want to get this ocean thing out of the way so that we can start talking about positive stuff. Northern and Southern Ocean circulation. Our new research shows that North and South Atlantic Oceans are more connected than previously thought, the team states. Changes in our part of the ocean can quickly affect distant regions when the oceanic current is strong. It transfers a lot of heat to the North Atlantic, but when it weakens, the surface of the ocean south of Greenland doesn't warm up as much, leading to what is called a warming hole. Meanwhile, the South Atlantic ends up storing more heat and salt. Time is not on our side. Our simulations show that the changes in far North Atlantic are felt in the South Atlantic Ocean in less than 2 decades, the researchers reveal. This means the effects of the slowdown are spreading faster than we thought. Climate projections have suggested the Atlantic overturning circulation will weaken by about 30% by 2060. But hold on, that's without considering all the extra meltwater. The Greenland ice sheet will continue melting over the coming century, possibly raising global sea level by 4 inches. If this additional meltwater is included in climate projections, the overturning circulation will weaken faster. It could weaken 30% by 2040. That's 20 years earlier than initially projected. And if you remember, some of these were even saying like 2027 and stuff like that. So I don't think it's going to be that soon, but it could be 3 years from now. We don't know. We don't know anything. Such a rapid decrease in the overturning circulation will shake things up. Europe might see colder winters, the northern tropics would get drier, and places like southern United States might experience warmer, wetter summers. Great. Our climate has changed dramatically over the past 20 years. The researchers warn. More rapid melting of the ice sheets will accelerate further disruption of the climate system. So what does this all mean for us? It means we have even less time to get our act together. Reducing emissions isn't just a good idea, it's crucial. Our planet's systems are interconnected in ways we're only beginning to understand. If we want to keep things from getting worse, we need to act now. Every little bit counts, and the clock is ticking. This one, I'm just going to read like 3 or 4 paragraphs. They're pretty short paragraphs. I'm not going to read the whole article. It's a 4-minute read, it says, though. But NASA satellites reveal abrupt drop in global fresh water levels, November 15th, 2024. The team of researchers identified this abrupt global decrease in fresh water using observations from the Gravity Recovery and Climate Experiment, GRACE, satellites, operated by the German Aerospace Center, German Research Center for Geosciences, and NASA. GRACE satellites measure fluctuations in Earth's gravity on monthly scales that reveal changes in the mass of water on and under the ground. The original GRACE satellites flew from March 2002 to October 2017. The successor GRACE follow-on satellites launched in May 2018. And they have a little map here. And I'll post the articles like normal so that you can go and read the whole thing if you want, or look at the pictures and all of that stuff. The decline in global freshwater reported in the study began with a massive drought in northern and central Brazil, and was followed shortly by a series of major droughts in Australasia. I've never seen those they added together. South America, North America, Europe, and Africa. Warmer ocean temperatures in the tropical Pacific from late 2014 into 2016, culminating in one of the most significant El Niño events since 1950, led to shifts in atmospheric jet streams that altered weather and rainfall patterns around the world. However, even after El Niño subsided, global fresh water failed to rebound. In fact, Rodell and team reported that 13 of the world's 30 most intense droughts observed by Grace occurred since January 2015. Rodell and colleagues suspect that the global warming might be contributing to enduring freshwater depletion. Global warming leads the atmosphere to hold more water vapor, which results in more extreme precipitation, said NASA Goddard meteorologist Michael Bosalovich. While total annual rain and snow levels may not change dramatically, long periods between intense precipitation events allow the soil to dry and become more compact. I can tell you that is extremely true because in West Texas, like in the desert, when it rains, the soil is so dry that the water doesn't absorb into it. It just runs off. It doesn't absorb at all. So, like, the water has to sit there on the ground for a long time for it to actually absorb into the ground. So it just runs around, and it basically just floods. Like, if you think about it, it doesn't go into the ground. The water just runs across the ground. That decreases the amount of water the ground can absorb when it does rain. The problem when you have extreme precipitation, Bosalovich said, is that the water ends up running off. Instead of soaking in and replenishing groundwater stores globally, freshwater levels have stayed consistently low since 2014-2016 El Nino. While more water remains trapped in the atmosphere as water vapor, which is not great, warming temperatures increase both the evaporation of water from the surface to the atmosphere and the water holding capacity of the atmosphere, increasing the frequency and intensity of drought conditions. So it's like a it's a feedback loop. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse the longer it goes on. It's like a spiral that goes down. While there are reasons to suspect that the abrupt drop in fresh water is largely due to global warming, it can be difficult to definitely link the two, said Suzanne Worth, a hydrologist and remote sensing scientist at Virginia Tech, who is not affiliated with the study. There are uncertainties in climate predictions. Measurements and models always come with errors. It remains to be seen whether global freshwater will rebound to pre-2015 values, hold steady, or resume its decline. Considering that the 9 warmest years in modern temperature record coincide with the abrupt freshwater decline, we don't think this is a coincidence and could be a harbinger of what's to come. So to re-emphasize what they said over here, with the warming temperatures increase both the evaporation of water from the surface to the atmosphere and water holding capacity of the atmosphere. The more water in the atmosphere, the warmer it gets. The warmer it gets, the more water can be held in the atmosphere. So that's what it's talking about in a harbinger of what's to come. So that's pretty interesting. So that's it with the doom and gloom. We're gonna move on. But at least with all of those things in mind, as I make more episodes, we can reflect back on all of these new challenges that have been presented to us in the past, like 2 or 3 months, that we can look forward to in the future. And I don't know how long, any of us have with this stuff. It could be the economy, it could be the Latino deportation, it could be the avian flu, it could be World War III, whatever. We have so many different things going on, but it's just so important for you guys to realize that now it is all on us. The decision's on us of what to do about these things. And I know it feels overwhelming, but like each one of these things that I just told you, there was thousands of people that were already working on a solution before you even knew that this problem existed. With all of these things, there's literally thousands or tens of thousands of people, at the least, that are working on these things. Like I said, before we even knew that these problems existed. And now you know that these problems exist, so you can throw your weight onto the problem to change things and to shift things. And that's what it's all about, is adding the weight of the collective weight together. And by every single person learning about this, it adds on more to that. And we all need to collectively organize because, like I was talking about earlier, all of these organizations, all of these corporations are organized against the people. The people need to organize for themselves to protect themselves and the land and the animals and our future, because these corporations are not going to do it. So I'm urging all of you guys to go out there and get involved. Let me give you a website real quick. Let me look it up. Okay, I got the website. So it's called wefightback2025.org. And on January 20th, 2025, there will be a National Day of Action for immigrants' rights, people's needs, women's rights, workers' rights, science rights, LGBTQ rights, everybody that's going to be under attack the next 4 years. You can come together on January 20th. Click on action listings at the top, and you can find a location near you. They're all over the United States, as you can see from this map, and they're going to be continuously added more onto. I would urge all of you guys to show up to one of these events, find the people there, the organizers, and get involved with those organizers and get to know the people in your community that want things to change and want to organize and want to be together and want better things for all of us. We all got to get involved. We cannot just be sitting at home and hoping for better. We've got to get active because nobody's going to give us our freedom. And I can tell you one thing before I go on to the positive stuff, like I said, that with these mass deportations and attack on Latinos, I will teach people to speak Spanish. I will teach people to make Mexican food. I will hand out Mexican food. You will never be able to take the Latino culture out of Texas. I will learn more Spanish than I've ever learned in my life. I don't even speak very good Spanish. And I will learn Spanish as a form of resistance to Trump. And I hope that other people will do that as well. And that it will stop. In no capacity will his deportations stop the Latino community or any community. You cannot stop people from liking Mexican food. And I'll just leave it at that there will be mass resistance to them putting people in camps. And they're building a camp in McAllen, Texas right now, and we will all regret it, that they will kick out the immigrants, because there will be no food and there will be no workers and our economy will not be doing good. So I'll just leave it at that. And Latinos are amazing people. They're very hardworking. Most of them are actually really conservative. So it's kind of ironic that the conservatives would go after them. But all right, so that's it. There's no more about the election or Trump or any of that. We're going to move on to science. And this one's actually really cool. It's I went and I got like the most positive things I can get, the most impactful positive articles I could find to make up for the beginning of this episode, because it was so intense. And like, I mean, I talk about some really intense stuff on here sometimes. So thank you guys for bearing with that and being brave enough to seek the unknown and the uncomfortable, right? Because that's kind of what art is supposed to be about, is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comforted, right? That's the saying. That's what journalism was supposed to be about too. All of the most famous journalists, that's supposed to be a famous saying. I don't know if people know it anymore, but all right. So here we go with newly designed nanocrystals can kill bacteria under visible light, from Rice University down here in Texas. Newly developed highlight perovskite nanocrystals. I always had trouble with that word. And after seeing that word so many times and the solar stuff and all the energy stuff that we've talked about, I figured that I should show a picture of a perovskite crystal. So this is what it's talking about. The reason that it gets the name perovskite is from this shape of the crystal. Apparently that is the name of the shape. This is a different type of, look for it, the metal halide perovskite. And On the bottom left here, you see a bunch of rhombuses or diamonds all stacked together in a fashion, and that's how these things form. So that's why they're special, apparently, is because it's like a collection of crystals that align together. So newly developed halide perovskite nanocrystals show potential as antimicrobial agents that are stable, effective, and easy to produce. After almost 3 years, Rice University scientists Yufan Zhu and colleagues have developed a new HPNC that is effective at killing bacteria in a biofluid under visible light without experiencing light and moisture-driven degradation, common in HPNCS. Wow, so just regular light showing through this crystal and it kills the bacteria. A new method using 2 layers of silicon dioxide that Zhu and colleagues developed over years of work was used in experiments with lead-based and bismuth-based HPNCs to test their antimicrobial efficacy and stability in water. The study was published in Nano Letters. HPNC have unique optical and electrical properties that make them promising candidates for solar power applications, bioimaging, and photocatalysts. The acceleration of chemical reactions caused by light in the presence of a catalyst. One such reaction is the production of reactive oxygen species that can inactivate biological contaminants in fluids. However, perovskites are highly prone to degradation in water and biological fluids, limiting their potential in biomedical application. The drawback with these materials has been stability. They're cheap and easy to make, but prone to degradation. The potential for HPNCS to eliminate contaminants from water has taken center stage in recent years with rising concerns about emerging pathogens and increasing rates of antibiotic resistance.